Stand by.
Good evening and welcome to The Law and You. My name is Stewart Fahmy and we're happy you can join us tonight because we have a special treat for you. Our guest tonight is John Mlnarik. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stewart.
John is the founder and director of the Mlnarik Law Group here in San Jose. And is it San Jose or Santa Clara?
It's in Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, I'm sorry, Santa Clara. And actually, John is a graduate of Santa Clara University with double majors in economics and English. He went to Lincoln Law School where he was the valedictorian and editor-in-chief for the Law Review there. John has a practice that includes bankruptcy, real estate planning, family law, and we welcome you to the show. Thank you for being here, John.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
No, that's our pleasure, sir. John, tell me something. I want to know a little bit about yourself. We've met before, but I don't know everything about you, so go ahead and tell me more about yourself.
Sure, I'd love to. I grew up in Nebraska on a small 40-acre farm just outside of a small town called Dodge, Nebraska. And I, in high school, moved away to live with my aunt and uncle to go to Omaha, went to an all-boy Jesuit high school there. And then after I graduated, came out here to go to Santa Clara, where I met my lovely wife and started a family. We currently have 3 young kids, a 6-year-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and another 2-year-old girl. And they're really the highlight of our life, and we really enjoy going to all their activities and taking them around town.
Well, John, being the valedictorian and one of the distinguished graduates of Lincoln Law School here in San Jose, you could have chosen to work for a big law firm or another legal area, but you chose to open your own law firm and start your own business. How is this entrepreneurship worked for you, and do you like it?
Oh, absolutely. I really enjoy it a lot. Working for yourself is very tough, but I'd rather bet on nobody else but myself because at the end of the day, I know that I've got the work done. I know how good everything is put in order and that the client is put in the best position to succeed. So I have enjoyed working for other people as I went through my legal education, but when I was done, I knew it was time to go out and hang out my own shingle, and I've got a good group of people working with me.
Well, good for you. And do you find being a businessman and having to collect all of the fees and pay all of the rents and the bills and the salaries challenging?
Oh, it's absolutely challenging. Sure, I've got many nights where I'm late at work. After the kids go to bed, I'm back at the office making sure everything is coming together. Not only for the legal matters that are going off, the papers getting filed at court, but also making sure the office is running smoothly. But fortunately, I have a great team assembled. I've got a wonderful office manager and 5 wonderful attorneys and staff who work with us. So I'm very fortunate to have good people.
Well, good for you. Now, obviously, it sounds like you're quite busy and that your day is already full, and with a family of 3 kids and a wife. How in the world did you find time to run for City Council in Santa Clara? And just for you who just joining us, John Mlnarik is a candidate for Santa Clara City Council, and I understand you are an at-large candidate and that the elections are in November, so there were no June primaries, correct?
That's right. There were no June primaries. Santa Clara is at-large by seat. And I just saw the need, and I've got the time available to make the effort and to serve the residents of Santa Clara to make sure that all of our wonderful city services are preserved. Santa Clara is a fantastic city. We've got low utility rates, and it's a difficult time for budgetary purposes. As you probably know, the state of California is pulling back redevelopment agency money. They're really pulling back. A lot of court funding was cut by over $500 million. And so it's difficult while the state struggles to stay afloat and make sure they can balance their budget and borrow more money if they can't. They're pulling it away from us here locally. and we're going to need to make some tough decisions about what services to keep and how we're going to pay for those that we believe are the most necessary.
So it's somewhat similar to what you have to face every day in your own business.
Yes.
Being able to stay afloat and meet all of the challenges and be economically viable if you want. Is that fair to say?
That's very fair to say, yes. So what I've experienced over the last few years in growing my business is those skills are going to be applicable immediately should I win the election and take office. And like I said, I'd rather bet on nobody but myself, and that's why I decided to run. I was actually never thought about entering into politics until the Santa Clara Chamber CEO, Steve Van Dorn, mentioned to me that it might be a good opportunity. There are 3 open seats in November, and so there's only one incumbent that's running for re-election. So a great opportunity came, and happy to, after having talked with my family, of course, and everyone at the law office and getting their buy-in and support to be running for City Council.
Now, that position on the Santa Clara Council allows you to continue your law practice while being a council member. Is that accurate?
That's right. It's a part-time job opportunity, so I don't really look at it as a job. I'll be serving the residents of Santa Clara, and there's 2 city council meetings every month, the 2nd Tuesday and the 4th Tuesday, I believe. And then there's also other obligations to make appearances and to be on other boards and things throughout the city. But it is part-time, and it will allow me to continue. That's been one of the biggest challenges, is kind of letting go of some of the things that I've got at the office and turning it over to staff and to other attorneys. But I really have gained a lot of trust in them, and it's been a wonderful experience so far to do that.
Well, the only thing I've gained through the years is weight, so I hope you gain a little bit more stuff than just my weight. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. And this is a topic that will probably be of interest to a lot of people, and that's the 49er Stadium coming to Santa Clara. Mm-hmm. Is that going to be, and I know from talking to you previously that you were in support of the stadium coming in.
Yes.
Is that going to be a fiscal challenge, or is it going to be a moneymaker for the city?
I believe it's going to be a moneymaker for the city. The execution of the development of the surrounding area and the stadium itself will determine how much or how big of a win it's going to be for the city. So I believe that execution of that project and widening the tax base of the city is going to be very important moving forward. But yeah, absolutely, it's going to be a win.
And is the stadium going to be used for other events other than the Niners playing there?
Yes, it will. There will be concerts and other events coming to town. Hopefully, maybe the Super Bowl 50 or 51. I know the 49ers are putting a bid out for that. Mm-hmm. Maybe some other college games.
Is it 50 or 51?
50 or 51.
I want to be alive, John. Can you do anything about it?
Yeah.
Please.
Well, I don't know if I can keep you alive, Stuart, but I'll...
No. I don't mean that. I mean bringing it maybe 2014 or 15.
That's the plan.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. Absolutely.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, just the presence there, I think, is going to add it tremendously, not only to the town but to the whole area here.
I agree.
Are you planning on using your business background as one of your strong points to run for city council?
Well, I hope to certainly have the backing of the business community in the city and in the Bay Area. It's one of my strengths, I believe, that comes through without a whole lot of explanation in seeing the amount of time that I've started my firm and grown it to having 5 attorneys and a good book of business. So I believe we need to run our city a little bit more like a business and make some better decisions fiscally. We certainly need to replenish the reserve fund that's been hit hard. And like I said, if we're going to have some more money taken away from the imploding of the redevelopment agency and the state taking the money back, I think that's going to be a difficult thing for all cities to deal with, and the county government as well.
Before we get into your law practice, I'm going to test your political acumen and ask you, do you have any bigger aspirations? I'm going to assume you're going to win your seat on the city council. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other political aspirations?
I don't, and like I mentioned earlier, I wouldn't even have thought of running for this if it weren't for Steve Van Dorn bringing it to my attention. But that doesn't mean that the opportunity in the future might not present itself. So I'm not going to close any doors, but I certainly don't want to open any of them. I'm really a family man. I'd like to stay close to home and spend a lot of time with my kids and my wife.
John, congratulations. You are a good politician.
Thank you.
Your answer was perfect.
Okay.
And if you just joined us, John Mlnarik is our guest tonight, and you can reach him if you have any legal questions in the areas of bankruptcy, real estate, estate planning. His phone number here in Santa Clara is area code 408-919-0088, and you can take a look at his practice on his website, mlnariklaw.com, which will include and does include a lot of video testimonials from satisfied clients. How in the world, in such a short time, have you created such a group of satisfied clients that are willing to give you testimonials in video? Tell me about that.
Well, that's an interesting point, because you would think that most people who file for bankruptcy or who need a lawyer's assistance aren't going to want to go on record, especially not on video, and be put out there in the public as having filed for bankruptcy and having had trouble. But we've had a lot of people who were so appreciative that they were willing to do that, helping them put their lives back into order, helping them put their business back in order so that they could continue to provide for their family was important to them. And they came up and stepped it up and are out there on our website. How did we do that? We did that by taking care of them one at a time, by really focusing on what their needs were and listening well to and trying to gain an understanding of what really the problem was, and then best positioning them to emerge from bankruptcy the most capable to then provide for themselves and to be prepared for the future, whether it's saving for the education of their kids or what most people need is to save for their retirement. They really needed to wipe the slate clean to get that going again.
And again, it's www.mlnarik, M-L-N-A-R-I-K, law.com, and it's going to be on the screen momentarily, so have a pen ready to write it down. What is the best thing a client has done for you to show their appreciation, other than paying you?
Yes, payment and prompt payment is good.
Is the key.
Is key. That keeps the doors open and everybody happy. But we've had a number of clients who have gone above and beyond. A lot of them bring us treats around Christmas time. But the best thing that we had a civil service postman who was doing art on the side and did pen drawings and pencil drawings. And he brought in, him and his wife were very excited about the day they brought it in, all wrapped up, and brought us a nice framed piece of their pen art and hung it on the wall in our conference room. It was a very nice piece, and it was really touching to us. The value, if we were to sell it, who knows, but it's that special connection that we made with that client that makes it that much more special.
And as per our agreement, I'm going to hand you a photo and a business card of mine, and you're going to do the same thing. Your client is going to do the same thing to me, right?
Sure, sure.
You know what? You are a politician, but I believe you. All right. Tell me, let's go back to, because that really intrigues me, the running for the city council, especially Santa Clara with the 49ers and all of what's happening there. And as you suggested, the redevelopment money being cut, there are just a lot of challenges. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask you a question. It's a tough question, but I know you can handle it. What are the three big things, if you want, that you plan to accomplish when elected? You see, I didn't say if you are, I said when elected. I trust you will be elected. So when elected, what are you going to do for us?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having that great faith in me, and it's the people who are supporting me.
It's not only me, it's the people
faith.
of California, the people of this nation, and the people of Afghanistan, if you want them to. I mean, everybody is
Sure.
for running. Go ahead, John.
Well, thank you. Well, the first thing we need to do is reestablish the reserves, because if we don't have enough cash around to sustain ourselves and provide for what the board has already, the city council has provided for 90 days of reserves. And at this taping, there's right now only 15 days at most, about $4 million in the reserve. So that needs to be replenished, first of all. After that, then we can think about what else we might want to spend money on. And in order to gain more money, we need to make sure that businesses are attracted to the city, and that means maintaining the low utility rates. It means maintaining the high level of services for the residents. What we also need to do is broaden that tax basis and execute on the stadium project well, and the stadium and the other projects around it that are coming through the pipeline. There are so many opportunities in Santa Clara with its infrastructure. You've got all of the roads that are running through there that have been well maintained by the city, and it's really just a great little hotbed for all the businesses that want to come into town. So.
Okay, these seems to be obviously three very, very important tasks, and obviously are rather quite difficult.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific plan on how you're going to accomplish this? I mean, let's start by replenishing the reserve.
Sure.
How are you going to go about that?
Well, that I believe has to be done with making cuts where available, and again, without reducing the services that the residents already receive. But most of all, it's going to be done by getting the new revenue in and broadening the tax base. So Santa Clara is well positioned to do that. Prior council, prior elected officials have provided for that, as have the city staff. They've got great resources there in Santa Clara, and so the opportunity is correct for everything to be a success. The Chamber of Commerce as well works closely with the city to make sure that businesses have a line of communication with the elected officials and the city staff so that they can make sure that their needs are being met. I believe that's very important. But how it's really going to get accomplished, Stuart, is if all of the people in Santa Clara make it a priority for themselves, and they come out and take an interest in their city government. Without anybody watching, without the watchful eye of the people paying attention and really taking an interest in it, I don't believe it's going to happen to the extent that it should. But if the people come in and take an interest, the sky is the limit. And this economic trough that we're going through can really, we can be on the uptick that much faster if people get out there, become involved, and really take an interest in their politics and enter into not only the communication, but also getting out there and volunteering in whatever way is available. And there are many ways in the city where you can come out to the library to read to kids if you like. It doesn't have to be some grandiose thing. If you can't do great things, you do all small things well, and they add up, and specifically for the people that you're doing them for.
Mm-hmm. In my case, I haven't been able to do either, but I like what I'm hearing. I like the enthusiasm. I like the commitment. I like what you stand for. How can I help you? Because you and I know that you cannot really run for political office without the support of the people. Yep. And let's just face it, fundraising, because how can you get your plan out to the people unless you have money to market it and to show it? So where do I go to help John Mlnarik if I am a Santa Clara resident, or even if not?
Sure. So we are on social media and Facebook. You can get onto our website at www.johnmlnarik.com. And you can endorse me. You can find out how to participate in the campaign by volunteering your time, by donating money, by just coming out and helping and getting involved. And that's one of the things that I would hope to do as well, is organize the residents so that they can have a good understanding about how the government is touching their lives and what area of government they need to interface with in order to make the change that they would like to see. Some people in the city may not understand that the city council doesn't have any control over the schools, that's the school district. So people may need just to be directed in the right place and provided with the right information. I, of course, am not going to provide them that information, but I can provide them and link them up with the right people. And hopefully they won't get discouraged when they reach out and they attempt to do something and interact, but instead they will get to where they need to go faster and get the results that they'd like to see a little bit sooner.
John Mlnarik is our guest tonight, and he can be reached at area code 408-919-0088. Again, that's area code 408-919-0088. A successful law practice in real estate, estate planning, and bankruptcy, as well as an at-large candidate for Santa Clara City Council. John, tell me a little bit about your law practice. You personally do bankruptcy, and do you do all kind of bankruptcies like Chapter 7, 11, 13, or do you specialize in a certain area?
We do 7, 11, and 13, and we specialize in individual consumer cases, although we have done some small corporate cases, but that's not our niche market. Our niche is the individuals. We primarily file Chapter 7 and 13. We do have a few Chapter 11 cases going at any given time, but they're very staff intensive, and we don't want to help any more people than we can so that we don't need help ourselves. So we're doing a smart thing by not overextending ourselves. But
a lot of people ask that question. How can someone that is going to file bankruptcy afford to pay a lawyer?
Sure.
I mean, it comes like a natural question.
Mm-hmm.
Can you help us with the answer?
Sure, that's a question that most everyone has. And those who are going to liquidate and file Chapter 7 would need to pay their attorneys before filing. So we need to put together a plan for them with timing, and they would wait to file and save the money that they would otherwise spend on paying unsecured creditors or creditors that would be discharged in the bankruptcy. And within a very small amount of time, they can afford to pay our fees and the fees that the bankruptcy court charges them and get a discharge for all of their debts. In a Chapter 13 or 11 reorganization, it doesn't need to be paid all up front. They can make payments to the Chapter 13 trustee in a Chapter 13, or again, make payments after they've filed Chapter 11 to take care of our fees. So there are options available to people, and if there's somebody who's really struggling and most of the times their income has been reduced, or maybe one of two people in a community has lost their job, that's usually what we see. They need to come in and get rid of some of the debts they have, so again they can continue to keep a home over their head, keep their kids in school, and take care of really the fundamental things that everyone needs to take care of.
A general question, during these tough economic times that we have been facing and actually continue to face, has the number of individuals or even corporations or businesses filing bankruptcy increased? Have you seen an increase in bankruptcy filings?
Most recently, we've seen a decrease, actually, and it may be because so many people who needed relief have gotten it and received it. After you filed for Chapter 7, you can't file again for another number of years. So if you file...
Is it 7 years or 5 years or what?
It depends on the chapter that you file after that and which chapter you filed first. So by way of example, if you file a Chapter 7, you can't file another Chapter 7 for 7 years.
Okay. And 13?
And 13, if you filed a Chapter 13, you'd have to wait 4 years before you could file another chapter. If you filed a Chapter 7 and then wanted to file a 13 later and receive a discharge, you'd have to wait 4 years.
Okay. Now, if someone files a Chapter 13, which is basically a reorganization of the debt and some way of getting your life back in order fiscally, that is, and then they run into a problem, let's say with their mortgage or something like that, does the mortgagor or the bank in this case, can they foreclose on them while they're in Chapter 13, or what's the procedure?
Well, that's a very complicated question.
Well, I only ask complicated questions. Otherwise,
Sure.
Because if it was simple, I would know the answer.
Sure. So there are a few things, extra information that I would need to know to answer that question.
Okay.
So if they're in a Chapter 13, they may be pre-confirmation, meaning their plan is not yet confirmed, and it may be post-confirmation. So if the trouble comes early on in their case, before their case has been confirmed or their plan has been confirmed, the creditor would need relief from stay. If it's after their plan has been confirmed, it's going to depend on an election that they made in their Chapter 13 plan and whether or not the property would revest upon confirmation or if it would revest upon discharge of the case.
What does that mean in English?
In English, it means that when the bankruptcy case is created, there's an estate, and all of it coming into that estate is all property, wherever it is situated, comes into the bankruptcy estate. And if it revests upon plan confirmation, then the estate, for all practical purposes, is no more, and it revests in the individuals that had filed that case.
Okay.
If it does not revest, then it continues on. The bankruptcy estate continues until the discharge has been entered and the case has been closed.
When a client calls Joe Mlnarik's office and wants to talk about potentially or possibly filing a bankruptcy, do you try to work with them or their creditors prior to filing the bankruptcy in order to avoid it, maybe doing some negotiations and trying to get some discounts or some restructuring of their debts so they can avoid bankruptcy, and how successful usually this is?
Well, that's the rare case, actually, and we do that, but it's not often that we do. Some people just simply don't want to file for bankruptcy, and at a greater cost, they would rather pay something back to their creditors and receive instead a discount on what's owed. Now, the difficulty with that is that we have to explain to them that there's a tax consequence of debt forgiveness. So the IRS is going to want to tax them on the money that they were forgiven, or what's going to be issued as a 1099 to them. So that's another thing where even though you believe you've gotten some relief, the government's going to come looking for you because now you've got ordinary income. And there are some things you can do to defray that expense, but you have to be insolvent at the time of the debt forgiveness, and even then it's only to the extent of the insolvency. So that's another good question, but complicated.
It's a tough one. And if you have any, and we'll get to John's number one more time at the end, but it is for your information, 408-919-0088. During the Bush presidency, there was some talk about forgiving some of what you call forgiven debt, especially in a short sale situation in real estate. Did this ever come to pass, or what's the situation now if I have a short sale? In other words, if I have a mortgage against my home for $200,000 and the bank accepts only $150,000, am I liable for taxation on the $50,000 difference?
Well, if you're in California, and we're talking about California and there's just one loan, the law here in California is that they cannot, after agreeing to a short sale, cannot come after you for the remainder.
No, but I'm talking about being taxed as, I'm sorry. My question wasn't clear. My apologies.
Sure. No, that's all right. I believe they did put that provision in, but it sunsets in 2012, and so I'm not sure if the current Congress has extended that or not.
Okay.
And it does qualify for only certain limited situations, so I always advise people to see a tax attorney or their CPA to understand that better. We don't give tax advice. It certainly comes into play and into consideration for people's choices, but we're always sending people to another tax attorney or a CPA to make sure they're making the right choice for them.
But if I were to come to you, you will be able to refer me to someone that can help me in these arenas?
Right, and we would be able to talk with them and make sure that they understood what exactly was going on and what information the client needed to make that choice.
Okay, John, unfortunately our time is up. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Well, thank you
so much.
Thank
You've
you
been very
so much.
informative, and we'll probably see you again next week if your time allows, but we'll talk about it in a minute.
All right.
And thank you for watching the show. John Mlnarik has been our guest. He is at johnmlnariklaw.com and also johnmlnarik.com as a political candidate for Santa Clara City Council. And I'm Stewart Fahmy. Give me a call at 408-666-0000 if you're interested in talking to us about any of our shows or wanting to see special programming. One more time, John Mlnarik has been our guest. Thank you, and thank you for watching.
Thank you, Stuart.
Good night.
Great pleasure.
See you next week.